Nicole Brandon, and welcome to Unlimited Life. We have such a special and extraordinary guest for you today. As we talk about unlimited life, what does it mean to live an unbridled life, to have unlimited health and wealth and finances and spirit and resources, to be able to live the life that you always knew you were meant to live, the kind of life you've always dreamed about, that heaven on earth, and what does that really look like? And so I've been striving for years to bring you the very best experts and the top people in their fields, to bring you the tools, the techniques, the secrets, and the keys to really living an unlimited life. And today's guest is no exception. When we talk about the pinnacle, the cherry on the sundae, the very top in the field of fitness and health, that is who we are speaking with today. Today we are speaking with Stephen Hercy, and Stephen is extraordinary. He is also known as Dr. Fitness USA. He is an international body designer, and he is the owner and the founder of the International Institute of Body Design. He holds the prestigious title Professor de Culture, Physique, Weider, and I don't know if you remember, but I worked with the Weider Foundation for a long time, and so I know they strive for excellence. So to me, this means so much that he holds this title and that he's been working through, literally striving through life, through body, through muscle, through movement, to art and excellence at the very pinnacle of success. He is certified by the IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding, and he is on the board of directors at the Endo Positive International, which is a global organization that provides alternative health choices to over 175 million women worldwide. That's an incredible statistic, 175 million women worldwide. And he is an author, he is a speaker, but truly he is one of the wisest, most knowledgeable people you'll ever come across in the world of fitness and health. And so, Stephen, welcome to the show. Such a joy having you with us today.
Sure. I'm only enlightened to be here. You know the saying, where's the beef, that went worldwide for McDonald's? Well, in my world, it's, is there a doctor in the house? Of course, drfitnessusa.com.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Hi. And so, first of all, I want to go back in time, sort of
okay.
Like Back to the Future. I want to go back in time because one of my favorite things to ask my guests is the did you know factor. When you were 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 years old. And it's so interesting for me because I ask people all the time the did you know. Did you want to be, president? Did you want to be a fireman? Did you want to be? And so many times the guest has said, no, I wanted to be an engineer. No, I wanted to be an astronaut. No, I wanted to be something completely different, and then some life-changing event happened that opened this doorway to this unique and incredible life. And then there were other people that came in, and even like myself, before they were even born, and they came in with that information and immediately started sharing. I mean, when I was born, my grandfather had had a heart attack in Philadelphia, and I was born in Atlantic City, and I think I was only a couple hours old, and they put me in an ambulance to race me to Philadelphia because they thought if my grandfather knew he had a grandchild, he'd want to live. So I was only like 3 hours old, and I was saving lives. I came in to do that. Did you know when you were little that you had this incredible propensity for fitness and health and teaching and wellness, or was it something that opened for you at some incident in your life that changed your world?
No, I don't think I knew what my calling was. I was just intuitive, and I always picked up those magazines with Charles Atlas, the weakling, who built himself into a tower of strength. And when I looked in the mirror, I knew that I needed a more muscular body to make my way through life.
Wow,
so
that's incredible.
It wasn't something intuitive, I came from, my father was an electrical contractor. I thought I'd be a chiropractor. I thought I'd go along those lines, but they always, I had a Jewish background, so it wasn't good enough for them to be thinking about exercise or going into the field of chiropractic. So I became kind of like the, how do you say it, the black sheep of the family, where I just did my own thing. As time went on, my father never exercised or had been taught of that direction, so my mother bought me a membership to a local health club. And, of course, as you know, everybody, they have great advertising, and they actually have people join the gym hoping they drop out after a couple of months. But, you know, years and years went by, and there was Stephen Hercy still sitting there working out with the weights and working on my new presence into the world. And then, of course, if we go further, we fall into different relationships. And first of all, in wrestling, I became stronger. And so I noticed that the strength was helping me make friends and to win allies. And then later on, as we get into relationships. And, of course, the women had cellulite problems, or I became the Mr. Fix-It. So I had to actually create a system to address each of their problems. And lucky enough, I documented everything for the last 45 years. So even though strength training is the number one preventive medicine in the world right now as recognition and the value it has to society, the doctors really don't have the protocols where I do. So that's
right.
The magic in talking with me.
That's amazing, Stephen. And I want to back up just a minute. So you're talking about, as a child, you had a membership to the gym, and, you said something very profound, that most people buy gym memberships, and then they don't go. Or people make New Year's resolutions, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to work out. And very often people follow the fitness patterns of their childhood. So if there was a kid that was benched in baseball and he sat on the bench working out as just showing up and talking to people, or if it's someone that was a team player, they end up in business becoming team players, or if it's someone that was a golfer or a surfer, they end up becoming entrepreneurs, very individual-based people. But why do you think in general, if you can say in general, or is it individualized, that people do buy memberships to gyms, that people have the desire to be healthy, fit, and well, and then they don't follow through?
There's just, maybe their nervous system has to be strengthened so they can follow protocol or follow their commitments, just like brushing your teeth as a way of life. But, the fitness world has evolved. I can relate it this way. For women who multitask, that's a wonderful thing. So when it comes to physical fitness, well, it could be detrimental too. So in physical fitness, there's multifunctional training options. So people are doing a mixture of everything, not understanding what the protocol is to be balanced and combine the mind, body, and spirit. In the mental world, people are actually trying to find that spiritual balance, so they enter activities that protect them or give them information or make them feel at home or that they're on the verge of the answer. But there's nowhere in the industry, like at least in the recovery industry, that they're given the option to go strengthen their body with weights, which the benefit, of course, is strengthens their nervous system so they're able to handle their emotions under stress. What happens is, even in a normal situation, a woman or a man or people who are coming out of recovery, they step out into the real world and, you could have a bad neighbor that you wish you hadn't moved next to, and they can they can be quite annoying and wreak havoc on your nervous system. So it's not, there's not a lot of education out there on the choices, but there's a lot of options, like just when you pick up advertising magazines, you see models and beautiful figures, but is that realistic? Is that how the 80% of people are in their body, or, that people are overweight, underweight, malnourished? but they're not really given the option or the education to further themselves. So I'm an empowerment speaker that's been getting powerful women behind me to hear the message, because the women have become so strong in society that they're giving their power away, and the men that are coming forward are becoming very weak.
Right. Well, okay, so I'm going to jump in for just a second to ask you, because
go for it.
I know that, because I've seen pictures of both men and women that you've worked and you've changed their lives and you've changed the fitness. So I know you work on both ends of the spectrum. And certainly, I don't want people to think that all women give people, that give their power away or whatever, or that the men are becoming weak, because I do believe that there is a balance, especially on a show like this where people are living unlimited lives and really striving to be the very best that they can be in all areas and arenas of their lives. But when you were working for 45 years, you said 45 years, that you're tracking, does this work? Does this not work? Does this work? When you found that something worked, was it like a light bulb went off and you were an epiphany, like in the cartoons where something above your head and you said, oh my gosh, why hasn't someone thought of this before, or this combination? It's like a mad lock that opens the doorway to health and fitness. What was that process for you in the finding the program that you've created today?
Oh, that's good, because when people think of fitness or personal training, they see a person in the gym that creates an appointment schedule like when you go to a dentist. I didn't take that approach. I looked at it as I'm the architect that has to create a magical blueprint, and I've got to know where the plug goes, where the electricity goes, how much electricity needs to pass through the system, how high the building is, how low the building is, what kind of ground, what kind of lifestyle do you have. So if it's a good fit and I take on somebody to create the answer to their body, it's a 24-hour, 4 weeks work schedule, where before they even get to experience working out, I've got a blueprint of how they're going to be successful. And that blueprint is going to be transferred to the person over 3 teaching sessions at about 3 hours each. But everything is there. It's kind of like ordering a prefabricated home today. They can take a trailer, bring in a home, and in about 24 hours you can move into your own house.
Right. That's remarkable. So when do people find you, Stephen? Do people find you when they're in pain, or they've been to doctors or to surgeons or to medication that hasn't worked, or because they haven't been able to lose the weight? At what point does somebody reach out and say, gosh, I need more help than I've ever needed before, or I need a different kind of an answer, one that actually works?
Well, I've had several articles from Muscle and Fitness to Muscular Development. I've been in the Malibu Times, South Bay Magazine. I have medical doctors that say that my system is stronger than medicine because of the grounding force. I'm in Los Angeles, so there's a little bit of Hollywood here. When I first started with people, I was Mr. Good person, where I thought that all the good conversation or the deeds that I would do would produce a client. But it didn't work out that way. So I decided to let myself go, and when I would see somebody that I lit up about intuitively, I would walk up to them and say, I'm going to change your life. And it could be a medical person. It didn't matter who it was. I had a lot of confidence. And I was ahead of my time because I never sold anything by the hour. I always created a program. That means that I allot a certain amount of time to spend on really thinking about where I want the person to go and what the approach would be and what their environment would be. Because there are 3 aspects to being successful. One is somebody that has a mindset. That could be simply a person that says, I want to feel healthy. But that could be separated into 2 things. You can get a person that says, I really want help, but I want you to do all the work. The other one says, I really want help, but I'm going to sabotage whatever you try to do to help me. And the third one says, I really want help, so what can I do to work with you as a team?
Okay, so I'm going to pause you for just a second. Hold on one second. So let's stay on this for just a second because I know people have questions with all of this, so I just want to get really into this with you. So somebody that wants to find you, the first way someone can find you is somebody that says, I want to be healthy, no matter what that looks like, that they want to be stronger, they want to be more vital, or they're sick or frail or weak or not achieving what they want to achieve, and they believe that ultimate health is possible.
Absolutely. So let's go on to the second thing. The second thing is environment. People go into a gym and they don't have any education, so to speak, or very little, so they go into a gym and they say, oh, this is fully equipped. Okay? But it could be the wrong shoe store. The shoe could actually pinch their feet or slip and slide, so they're never going to make any progress. So when I develop a program, I go and study the environment, or I get a virtual camera inside the gym, or the student provides me with pictures, and then I'm able to see if the equipment is outdated or it's up to date. So when I ask subcontractors if they'd like to be part of the Body Design 4-Minute Team by Dr. Fitness, 9 out of 10 of them don't qualify. One is because they have home gyms, office gyms, apartment building gyms. They have CrossFit centers, which is an open piece of grass with balls and bands and things like that. This has nothing to do with changing your body. I mean, if you were going to have a major operation, you think twice about going to a hospital that had insufficient tools to perform the operation. Today, you would pick a hospital that has a small incision, a robotic camera that leaves no scars. But people don't think about that in fitness. What happens is they're sold a pipe dream. The person that really goes into that wants a trainer or wants to be physically, really wants to actually have a better physical look and to feel better inside. So when they approach a trainer, they're promised the impossible dream. They're assuming that that person is professional, and when they work with them, that their body will magically take on this beautiful appearance. No. They might get
now, okay, so I'm going to ask a question here. And so we see people all the time that are prisoners. I'm going to take that as an example. And you see these prisoners that are like on death row and they have like a toothbrush. They don't have anything. And they use their own body resistance to do push-ups, to do sit-ups, to do isometrics, to build against the wall. And so doesn't everybody have the ability to define muscle within themselves, and then everything else enhances that or launches that into a whole other level of wellness or commitment or excellence or achievement?
Well, it has to do with the way that you're born, genetics. And then it has to do with mindset. You know, what happens when somebody goes to a doctor and the doctor says there's no hope, and they follow the alternative medicine? That person has a stronger willpower. When somebody has a positive outlook on life, they can overcome obstacles that once was thought to be impossible. Just like in the Body Design Formula System, I develop programs for people that create results that once were thought to be impossible. They move tissue under the scapula to flare out the space between your shoulder blades. I create a waistline. One of the chief things that's overlooked is strengthening the nervous system. So when we go into the gym in the plan of action, in the first exercise, we increase women or men's strength 20 or 30% in 20 minutes, which controls brain function. And then it goes on from there. Once women feel their power and their body is ergonomically comfortable in the piece of equipment that we use, like a leg press, they become very quiet in the mind and they feel very empowered, and they realize that they have the ability to move forward in their life. Plus, it also, that strength increase sends new oxygen to their brain and opens up a creative channel that hasn't been accessed before. And it also allows them to lift the correct weight, according to my plan, so that they can produce a result. If you like, I can give you an example.
Sure.
Now, let's say, well, give an example. We can say we have a dumbbell incline press. I very rarely use a machine or any bar that crosses right to left shoulder or crosses your brain channel. It's very confusing, and it's very hard on the joints. But let's say we're doing a dumbbell chest press. I don't give any flat dumbbell chest press. It's always at a 45-degree angle. So there's a lot to learn: how to clean the dumbbells, how to support your spine at the bottom of your tailbone, correct, so that you're grounded. So there's a lot of things in learning the chest press. So where I'm going with that is there's 4 fears in life: fear, rejection, abandonment, noise, and failure. So the reason I don't give them something lying down is because if you give a woman that, they're already out of control because they're falling backwards, like in Pilates. Second of all, on an incline, they can actually feel safe and see in the mirror their train or line of movement. Now, you might not know this, or you probably do, is that women store most of their emotions in their chest. So if they push on a heavy weight, for their size anyways, and they are able to accomplish the movement, they'll feel like $1 million. So I have a question
I'm going to jump in with a question on alignment then, and I have to tell you I'm a Pilates master, so I have to be a big proponent because I love Pilates, and so and I understand what you're doing too, and I certainly want to, successfully share your information, but I have to tell you I've worked with millions of people around the world, and Pilates saved my own life. When I was in a car accident and exploded, I used the principles of Pilates to put my body back together again. So I certainly want to make sure that's not knocked. But as far as alignment, you were talking about the barbell or the 45-degree angle. So what happens when people are carrying babies, or they're carrying golf clubs, or they're carrying their handbag on one shoulder or something like that you're talking about? Yes.
Yeah, I like when you challenge me. We didn't say that Pilates doesn't work. Okay, look where you went. Is that an emotional reaction that I triggered?
Yes, right.
Okay, sure. Okay, so when people are carrying babies and things like that, that's what we wind up with overuse injuries, where the shoulders will round forward, and their posture isn't in good alignment. So what happens is the body will adapt to that posture. Just like if you're hanging on the edge of a tree, the tree won't die, but the branch might not grow in the right position that you'd like it to. So when people come to see me, based on their lifestyle or if they've had babies, then we need to revert it back to their to what we would see as a healthy posture, just like chiropractor. But the system, I have to say that the body design formula system isn't based on performance. It's based on the power of my prescription. Performance, I'll go slow. When women have a baby, they're now doing what we call male energy twice. If they're in a very serious work job or position, that means that they're being intellectual 24 hours a day. When women stay in their intellect 24 hours a day, the result is that they impede or weaken their immune system. So there's an offshoot. So my program comes from inside out, and it quiets the mind. And they can work out once a week, once every 2 weeks. It always works. Because that's what I get. People will come in and say, how much weight how many times a week do I have to work out? When will I lose the weight? Which goes into another thing. When women or even men hire a trainer, they're unwittingly put in the category of trying to lose the weight. So it's a cat trying to catch the tail. They might lose a few pounds, but they didn't build any muscle mass, or they didn't correct their posture. They didn't do anything that was possible because they didn't research what type of system that the trainer is actually offering them. Remember, I'm in a gym, won't say it is, but we got 120 trainers, and I can't say they're not professional. They're professional. But just like chiropractic school, what what level, what grade did they pass when they graduated. And even if they had a low grade, some chiropractors intuitively could be great. So it all depends on the individual, but it's hit and miss. The trainer's object is to help you work out.
Absolutely. And Stephen, I want to go back to the pregnancy thing for just a second, because you were talking about women that were pregnant. So how does it work? Because, I know in every aspect of training, women who have had cesareans, who have been cut, who no longer are feeling their abdominal muscles. So how do you help a woman who's gone through that process that no longer feeling or being able to find those muscles any longer?
Oh, we always find a way. That's a good question that you ask. Okay, I'll give you an example. Well, it was a healthy person that actually has been a personal trainer, has been a fireman, it's a male, for 12 years, and actually has a great look, very handsome in his clothes, athletic. And then he meets me, and I look at him, and I say, you forgot to train your arms. He has no arms. So just like the woman, he doesn't feel his arms either. There's parts of the body that people aren't aware of, or they're underdeveloped from birth. And so in a body design formula, I'm not looking at getting the person physically fit. I'm going to spend time finding the imbalance in the body, just like Sherlock Holmes, and I'm going to find that little window of opportunity that will find something great in the person's body and match everything up to it. And when your body comes together as a whole team, you'll feel. I mean, the feeling that the person, that when they're trying to feel their stomach, that's like trying to lose weight spot training. But you have millions of nerves in the body, and you can transport them to other parts of your body that will help you be very successful. And it also deals with pain. So that means that when you have a formula, you can just change the angle of an exercise and the pain will disappear. So let's say it was a side raise movement, okay? If you angulate, which is really hard on most people, if you angulate at 45 degrees, you won't have any pain in the shoulder. So I'm an ergonomic expert, so what I do is I create ergonomics that go with who you are. It's kind of like the comparison. In short, I would say that if you went to an acupuncturist, you would hope that they would know how to put the meridian or the needle in the right meridian to address the condition that the person is wanting to heal or be healthier. When you go to a personal trainer, it's not negative, but trainers are putting needles everywhere. And when they have you run up and down and do these things, they are actually creating a schizophrenic type of brain function. And I can say that factually because I've appeared in Muscle and Fitness, and I got letters as far as the Philippines, Yugoslavia. I've got letters from all over the world that people were up in rage, not at me, that they weren't told that there is an opportunity to change their body if they had a different approach.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And then I saw in your bio when it talks about the Endo-Positive International. What is that? It sounds fabulous.
Endo-Positive is a disease that affects the woman inside her body. And without getting too technical, what happens is it's something that grows inside the body. It's very painful. And what happens is they go through a procedure that, is long, and until they find out that it is called endometriosis, till you go through all the tests, till you go through the pain and suffering. I understand they have a lot of pain and discomfort. Some of them are told they can't have babies, and they've had operations. And actually, it's been unsuccessful, except for the part that the women that were told they couldn't have babies, by changing their holistic approach to life, are able to have babies. And with their support of they've overcome most of the obstacles, but they still haven't been and the drugs don't help with the pain too, because as you know, we get used to painkillers and things like that. So I'm in charge. Ania, who discovered or is the head of the movement, and she wrote a book, Home Alone, for endopositive.org at the moment. She was a masterful woman that when she spoke to me, saw the opportunity for me to help other women. She was speaking my language. This was like the magic bullet. And so I was invited to be a guest speaker, which I did attend. But I noticed that there was nobody doing strength training. See, so you can change your lifestyle, but if you don't go into the gym and strengthen your nervous system, then you're subject to all the stress that happens on a day-to-day basis. And when I say strength training, you need to do a system that actually quiets the mind and helps you to go away from multitasking, which is really detrimental. You ever go in a gym and see the women are still texting on their cell phone? So the whole opportunity for women to move forward is there. And Dr. Fitness USA always looks for support from wonderful leaders like yourself. And right now we hold one of the solutions that's been overlooked in addiction and recovery, such as alcohol, drugs, things like that. What happens is it's not most. What it is it's intellectual information. So the person receives intellectual information, or they go to a home and they try to create a new habit. And then what happens is when they go out, they've got nowhere to go. They didn't ground their body, or they didn't strengthen their nervous system. Now, I know there are some great people out there, I won't mention it, that had a very bad past, a really bad person, just like in the movies, heroin addiction, and they took up strength training, changed their body, and when they do an intervention with a person, by the time they get through with them, they now have created a healthy habit. In other words, the addiction is substitute for strength training, supplementation, better sleep. You understand? You know, when you have a program or a person that is a good leader, it's a step in the right direction. So we have 2 articles coming out this month. I've lectured to real therapists, like a group of men who have been in this business for like 30 years. I don't know if I've been invited. I don't know if they understood what I was talking about, but 9 out of 10 people in that room are so unhealthy. How can they preach and teach to their clients? It's amazing. So in the industry, there's a lot of people preaching health, but they don't have a holistic way of having the person at least have some consideration following in their footsteps. So, are you still there? Hello? Hello? Are you still there?
I'm sorry, can you not hear me? Yes, I was asking you. So what does, as you say that, what does ultimate health...
Were you able to hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay.
Yes. What does ultimate health, though, look like to you? Or mean to you?
Ultimate health means that you want to wake up in the morning and not have colds, flus. You don't want to go to a medical doctor and find that you have some type of disease or incurable disease. You don't want to wind up with an earache. You don't want to wind up with a toothache. You know, these are normal things that happen in life, and it affects people to a certain degree. So you hope that you're one of the lucky few that have won the lottery, that you experience less disease, less pain, less guilt. You have a good supportive relationship. These are some of the things that, and of course, that you're following the body design formula system. Absolutely. I teach it, preach it, and I live it. Because when people...
That's incredible. And so how how did you, as I'm jumping in here, how did you come up with the body design system, and how did you become dubbed Dr. Fitness USA, which I absolutely love that title?
Dr. Fitness USA was an honorary title. It was a title that was given by Dr. Aaron Orpelli. He is a chiropractor in the Beverly Hills area, and I'd have to say that he's superb, so if anybody needs a chiropractor, I'd send them to see him. One is that I like the way he conducts his life, and he follows through, and he's an athlete himself. It was just a magical meeting, and that's the way it happens. I read professional people, and I ask them to take off their shirt, and I say, okay, you have a nice picture, but no frame, so we need to go to work. I can help you.
Wow. So how did you create the body design system, though?
So wait a second. He called me Dr. Fitness. Dr. Fitness. Okay, you're Dr. Fitness. And then I later on became part of CEO Space, and Bernie Dorman said, Dr. Fitness, no, you're Dr. Fitness USA. And then he asked an audience, like, anybody out there lock the name Dr. Fitness USA? And everybody said, yeah, Dr. Fitness USA, that's it. And then that's it. Then I trademarked it and created the website. And, when I go places, people love to remember me by Doc. If I said, oh, this is Stephen Hercy, and I'm in the fitness thing, they already think I'm a personal trainer. But when I say I'm Dr. Fitness USA, I'll change your life. If you want to try the other people before me, go ahead. But my door's always open to you. And part of the thing also is when people. Part of the thing is when people come to see me, I also, have what they call relationship self-defense, which is not physical. It's intellectual. I teach women how to role play so they get a better result when they're actually connecting with men. I think that women should have their significant other work on the body design formula system because it'll produce a better type of man. And something that is not known is that when men work out, that's a feminine attribute. So I'd have to say to women to stop trying to get men to share their feelings. Anytime you get a man to share his feelings, you can be sure that you're going to be doing all the work. So I have to say that my lovely significant other, Batista Grimaud, who's the highest level teacher in the world, as she's a 7th degree level teacher, and she's been on your radio show, also an author of 3 books on my life, that she practices what I teach. She doesn't get in the car unless I open up the door. I do the grocery shopping, I do the clothes shopping, I open the door, I bring in the money, and she gets to do the passionate things she loves. She loves being intellectual. She became a graphic artist, on the web as a pro. She wrote 3 books. She's a superb cook, and she's been to the gym almost 1,200 times. So we practice what we preach. When she starts her day, she gets to go work out before anything else because it processes women's emotions. Again, if they stay in their intellect 24 hours a day, you've got a mean woman on your head if you're in a loving relationship. You'll buck heads.
So, Stephen, as you go through all this, and I was asking earlier, at what point does somebody find you? So I know that you work with people throughout the world, and you're based in Los Angeles, and I know you've authored several books as well as Batista has. What's the best way for people to start to work with you? What is the first step if somebody is listening to the show from Malta or from Paris or, from another country or from even across our very own nation? How does somebody find you and work with you?
First of all, the website is drfitnessusa.com. That's the short version, DR Fitness. They can go to the website. Then they can read the material, especially the foreword to the book by Dr. Bruce Barton and his wife, Connie, who actually became a world-class personal trainer after using my system and changing her life. Last year they were in South Africa for 2 years for a mission for the church. So they can look at the website and try to see if it resonates with them. Then they can actually send me an email. I believe it's doc@gmail.com. Is that correct? It's doc@gmail.com. Or they can actually email me. And then I will send them a link that they need to fill out some type of a form so that our time is productive, and then I will get back to them.
That's great. And Stephen, I just want to jump in and just ask a question real quick. So I know that you work with realignment and pain management as well. So for someone that's had back surgery, knee surgery, a rotator cuff tear on their shoulder from playing tennis or golf or something like that, can you work with those people as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you have a knee pain, usually a lot of times when you go to a medical doctor, they're definitely going to find something wrong. But the truth of the matter is it's possible that the pain in the calf, in the knee, is really coming from your calf muscle. So when you have a pain, it usually came from somewhere else, but the doctors are going right to where it ends up. So they're not really eliminating the cause unless you want to go under the knife. I own the International Institute of Body Design, and on my website, Rosita 10, she's actually a dentist for 34 years. It didn't come from me, but she had actually torn muscle in her shoulder, and she was recommended. She was recommended to have 3 surgeries by medical doctors, and you can check it on my website. She nixed all of them, and she lived a healthy life, and her arm is just fine, and she didn't have to wear a sling for 9 months, and she didn't have to take a risk of any energy. And, in case we run out of time, I wanted to say that we do design workout programs that could be handled online, should we be a good fit, because I do work with people worldwide and just have an open mind. And when I ask them to do something, they need to get it done like now rather than later, because we're real busy. We have a waiting list for people to have me at least look into their case.
Right. And then do you work with all ages? Do you work with teens? Do you work with elderly? Do you work with pregnant women? And what is the gamut or scope of your practice?
Younger people, that's a new thing for younger people. They're not going to get a stunted growth. It depends on who they are and their mindset. Usually the mid-range is pretty good. When they're getting in their 60s, difficult. It doesn't mean I don't work with them or I can't design a prescription that they can give to their personal trainer. But the thing is, you have to have a healthy mind and spirit to actually do the work when you let your body go. There's a little video on the web from a 93-year-old man, and I play it sometimes, and he said, it's just like a car. If you took good care of it, it's not going to cost you a lot. But if you did, it's going to cost you a lot. So when somebody comes in and when I told them how much it's going to cost, just like when you go to a lawyer, and they say, why is it so expensive? That's not the type of person for me. What I want to know is if the person says, is what you're seeing irreversible? Or what would it take to change it? Or can it be changed? That's a part of the person. They don't relate physical fitness like when you go to a dentist. Go to a dentist, they have the avenue of fear. If they say you lost tissue in your mouth, the first thing you say, can I have it back? No, you can't have it back. Well, it's like the body. If you let your body go too long, then it might not be, you could improve it, but you might not be able to get the results as if you attended to it when you were young. And second of all, if you let it go too long, it's going to cost you some money. And a lot of people have a very poor mindset when it comes to physical fitness. Like I mentioned, home gyms, park gyms, offshoot gyms, all those things. Or you can see it where women are trying to better themselves and they're in a group in the park and you've got a fitness trainer, and they're trying to lose the weight, and there's all this kamangira. That's not helping a woman. That's just biding the time. That's I have to tell you, that's a no-no. You have to join a gym that has the proper physical equipment. And today, if you go to an LA Fitness or a Gold Gym, you'll see the new generation are all working out with weights. Okay? And their membership rates are pretty reasonable. So most people can afford to go to a proper environment. And one other thing is there's a crossover of women who are coming into the gym, even men. And what they're doing is, because they had stretch exercises in their life or dance experience, what they're doing is they're doing hundreds and hundreds of reps, and they're up and down and things like that. That has nothing to do with changing your body. Strength training is a completely separate category in itself. All those other things are categorized in dance movement awareness. You have to lift the weight.
There's definitely fitness. I want to jump in there because I do believe that strength training is in a completely unique category and different category, but I don't want people to think that are going to the parks or are able to, take their baby strollers or whatever, which is certainly better than, just being in their house and not doing anything. And the same as people that are figure skating or that are dancing or that are swimming, certainly exercise and oxygenation for anybody is better than not doing anything, walking,
Wait a second. I'm not knocking that. That's a little different when you're going out for a roll with your children and things like that, or some people have parlayed into where they roller skates and things like that. But when you want to rebuild your nervous system, you need to have the proper tools to do it. Okay? Just like when you brush your teeth, you need a proper toothbrush. You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting. I can give the analogy. I've used a hand toothbrush, right? And you can be really powerful with it. And if you can go fast, you can do it. And then go to the dentist, and the person says, well, how come you didn't brush your teeth? You say, well, that's not possible. Well, they take an x-ray, and they show all the plaque and things like that. Okay? Then they give you an electric toothbrush. My God, there's no comparison. So there's different ways of looking at exercise. But I'm being educational. I'm being truthful to women. If they really want to strengthen their nervous system and have a better life and a better outcome, they need to consider going to a proper environment. And the third thing is they need an education. They can't just go in the environment and hope a personal trainer is going to put their life together. They don't have time to deal with people like that. They only have an hour to work with you. And out of that hour, they dilute the training by stretching, and then they dilute the training by doing some aerobic activity. And so the pure strength training is maybe 20, 25 minutes, and then the weights that you're lifting are insignificant to cause the change you want to in the first place. I mean, how is it possible that a wimpy old woman that works with a trainer for 9 months comes into my office and I ask her, she's a very correct person, actually has a nice little body, but I discover that she has the potential to be a lot more. And when she sits down, I say, okay, where you been at? Oh, I've been at the personal trainer gym. Which one? Oh, okay. So you told me you went to trainer's aid place of exercise, right? Yes. Okay. So you just wasted 9 months of your time because I've been to the trainer's place and he doesn't even have the right pair of shoes. And then if you listen to her, you will understand the pain she went through by being there, being in a machine that was too big for her body, etc., doing exercise, sitting on the floor. Okay? How do you explain that the most she ever lifted is 3 pounds? How will you explain that I developed the system, got her into a proper gym, and in 20 minutes she's leg pressing 435 pounds? How do you explain that? I show it on camera, the power of women who are open to learning and understanding how to go to a higher level of consciousness.
That's brilliant. That's great.
So, and we're open for speaking. We're open for a lot of things, but we're looking for people who are in a place to make things happen. And I don't interview men and women together. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, are you certifying people now to be able to bring this modality into other countries and to other
Yeah, they can be certified. Yes, they can be certified in the body design system. Yes, it's very powerful. Because of who I am and who I'm backed by, and it makes the trainer themselves be accountable, and it also becomes very interesting. I mean, how do you kind of the fact that I have a pro bodybuilder, I won't see who they are, that when I go to the gym, they're counting till 4. 3 years later, I try to relax. I go to the gym. The person is counting 1, 2. He's counting to 4 to a young man that's only 19 years old. He's doing an nonsensical exercise that I'll never make progress on, and yet the trainer is hovering over and counting till 4. What's that all about? This is what's happening in the industry. Well, this is what's happening in the industry, that people are kind of like blindsided to it. They're all trying to outdo each other, but it's not helping women. And also,
Stephen, we have a question. We have a question here. I'm sorry, that just popped up that I just wanted to ask you as people are typing in questions to you. Asking about the slow-mo. Is this like slow-mo? They're asking. Like, is this like slow-mo? The exercise slow-mo. It's asking the slow motion exercises.
When you're doing slow-mo, you're absolutely wasting your time. Okay. What do you mean slow-mo? If you wanted an ice cream cone or you were hungry, would you go slow? You'd put on the jet propeller and you'd be salivating, getting to the front of the line to get that ice cream, wouldn't you? You need some education, not you personally. It's a business, just like everything else. There's a business and they want your money and they're going to take it. But as you're spending time doing this, your body is slowly going backwards. So be careful what you do. Because I sit in my office and I get the resumes of women, and when you understand the pain they go through, you could cry. I have a lot of humility and respect for women, and when they come to see me, I put away 2 or 3 hours even though it's time-consuming, to try to get them to go to a better place. I don't rush them. And in the training, I don't touch the weights. I don't get in their headspace. I don't yell at them. I don't scream at them. I show it on camera that magically I can get them to lift the weight by themselves just by talking quietly and giving them the understanding of how to get it done.
Wow. Well, that's really genius. And I'm so appreciative that you came on and that you were with us today.
You were with your martial arts. I was a teacher for Sue-Ann the King, 3rd-degree black belt in Aikido, and she wrote a attestation that she learned a higher level of patience doing my program. I have from a yoga master, too, writing that they learned a higher level of patience. So in my program, it teaches you a peace of mind and tranquility, and it's a beautiful place to be for a woman, at least for a couple hours, once or twice a week.
Wow, that's great. Well, we thank you for being with us today. And so once more, tell me your website and how people can find you.
It's drfitnessusa.com. There is a link to reach the email. You can call 424-245-6560. Be sure to leave a clear message, because I get a lot of calls all over the world. So if I don't know who it is or why you're calling, you might wind up in the queue box. And I want people to know it can have a different color. So you're not going to get a personal trainer, and you're not going to get somebody that's going to be weird or tell you a story or anything like that. What you're going to get is some honest answers. And if I find that there's something that can be done, you can be sure that I'm going to find a solution, just like Sherlock Holmes. Because if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then Stephen Hercy, Dr. Fitness USA, and Baptista Gramode will help you achieve it.
That's wonderful. Well, Stephen, thank you for being with us today. We look forward to following you. And for everybody that's looking for a stronger, healthier, happy, more vital, more virile life, kind, Stephen. Stephen, thank you. I look forward to having you with us again.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Wow. What incredible information. So I love the fact that he talks about the strength training being different than anything else, the differentiation. And I love the fact that he talks about how unique this is, and by listening to somebody and being able to share with them that they have the capability, the possibility, the potential, and the ability to do more, to lift more, to be healthier than they ever thought was possible. So I love all of that. And certainly we're in love with Batista and all of her work, and everything that she's doing was just so genius and so beautiful. And she really has gone on such an incredible journey from becoming a dancer to a flamingo, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artist, to being able to now share health and body and wellness worldwide. And I love that they're working together at Dr. Fitness USA to create this new body archetype for women and for men who are looking for a healthier and stronger and certainly a happier way and a healthier way of life. And so great tool, technique, find them, and especially if you're looking for strength in your own life or being able to reshape. And I love the idea of stronger than medicine, being able to take your body to the next level of realignment and pain-free management. So to get a copy of today's show, it's easy. Just send a text message to 55678. Send a text to 55678. And the message is simply Nicole, and you can download a copy of today's show, Steve Hercy, or any of our archive shows, and right into your phone or mobile device. We also have some incredibly wonderful news. Passionate Living is now going to be hosted on OM Times. And so as of May 4th, you can find us there on Monday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific time. And on OM Times, amazing, amazing, amazing network, amazing people offering incredible information. And we're honored and so pleased to be part of that world and part of that tapestry starting on May 4th. And for now, you can find us here tomorrow on Hourglass Bride at 3 p.m. Pacific time as we continue on this beautiful spring and holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you here next week. So for Steve Hercy and for myself, Nicole Brandon, we are wishing you the unlimited life, the unbridled life, the kind of life you always dreamed of, desired, deserved, and knew that you could have. So to healthier living, we look forward to seeing you next week here on Unlimited Life.